All right, everyone, welcome back to Mind Your Words After Dark. And we have a fun episode today. It's just going to be Alicia and Myra's advice to Reddit comments.
Oh, yeah.
So, Myra has been selected to pick random Reddit posts.
Well,
And she's going to read to us, and we're just going to give you our initial reactions, our advice, experiences that we have. It's going to be very interesting. So go ahead, Myra. Go pick the first one for us and let's talk about it.
all right. So the first one I've picked is how to deal with rude strangers online.
Oh,
So apparently, the person made a post on an Uber subreddit recently, and they got trolled and douchebag by a few people, and it made them feel very down because they didn't think that either. I guess whatever he they posted. Basically, I'm just wondering if anyone else has had the same or similar experience and how to deal with rude strangers online, like how to cope with it or react or and also apparently a few people have said to them that it doesn't mean that it's true whatever they're saying, but you know, but what do you think? How can we deal with rude strangers online?
this happens to me very often because I do a lot of things on social media, and actually, I in the past I was really scared to do that, to be honest, because I have read, simple posts and people have like really bad reactions to it. And I can remember one situation, and it was in my neighborhood, actually city group, where people just post what's happening in the city, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is the city decided to reline the sewage system in our on our street. And they have a really heavy duty trucks that were pushing air and wind and who knows through the sewage. And it came up into our house and our toilets exploded.
Oh my.
Yeah, and they didn't even warn us because, we were not even prepared. Yeah, it exploded, literally, and I had to clean up the crap.
Out of the shithole. Oh my god. Oh,
So I did a snarky post and I said it would have been nice to had some warning that we would not have to clean up after her toilets. That's what I posted and I said, for those who live on this street, pay attention because your toilets may explode. And so, this witch, I would say,
what
the witch came on
the wicked
and said
thing.
she just wanted to hear her own voice. Oh, the New Jersey girl out of me came out. And I really laid on her and I said, you know what? Next time you have a problem with your sewage, invite me over and I'll take a look at it and tell you that there's nothing wrong.
Where my hoops at? Where my ring?
Yeah. And I had that satisfaction to send it. Of course, they didn't respond, but everyone else was like, they have that surprise look, like, how dare that I responded to this person's reaction? And I'm like, listen, I am giving you some help because it's okay. I was pissed off, but at the same time, I'm not wrong by saying, hey, you give us some warning, you know?
Yeah.
Clean up their sewage, right, in their house. So yeah, my reaction tend to be a New Jersey fight back. You want to fight? I will fight with you. I will tell you. I'm going to watch you clean up your own crap in your own shit, and I'm going to tell you there's nothing wrong. Okay?
Uh, you bring
Invite
out
me
the
over so I can just tell you that everything's okay. All right.
um, you
So
bring out
yeah.
the out of you. Well, I'll tell you, when I make comments, I bring out the Cali, the South Central Cali
Oh
girl come
yeah.
out when I
Oh.
sing, and I could be sarcastic, but yeah, no, I have posted a couple of times. I have posted something. I respond to something that I think moves me. Sometimes I have to say something. Like somebody, I think the last one was about places to retire,
Okay.
to buy abroad for Americans.
Ah.
And somebody mentioned, oh, no, no Central America. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. And I said, well, it's not dangerous because I lived there and I know Central America. Like Panama's fine. Nicaragua as well is a good country. He's like, and then he kind of came back, was like, no, you don't know. You think you know. I'm like, I do know. Thank you very much. But and it was just going back and forth. And I was like, oh, and then of course he was saying, oh, well, I live in Thailand where there's no guns and I'm safe here. Rather in Central America, you're always going to be worried about a gun. I was like, okay, it just depends. Like even Mexico, when people say Mexico's a terrible country, like drug, okay, Mexico has its problems. So does America. So does everybody. So I'm going to say my opinion about what I think about certain things. And um, funny enough, talking about this subject, there's apparently something in America about this person that somebody put online and she was being trolled. I mean, it is terrible. I mean, the comments that you can get is horrible. And I feel sorry. Like you said, like you post something up and you'll get some comments. Every celebrity, something happens, they get trolled, they get told they're too fat, they're too skinny, they're too ugly, they can't sing.
Right.
you know, you're always going to get 101 comments and you're always going to get some weird ass person like AKA the witch here uh, making some rude comment because why? Because they can hide behind a screen. No,
Exactly.
nobody needs to know who you are. I mean, you and I can make our own fake account and start trolling people if we want, but we have a life. We're happy people. We are not going to waste our time. And if we think about when crank calling, prank calls, that's what we used to do in the 80s and the 90s. Now it's about
Yeah.
trolling and just saying things on live, or you're always going to get something bad. So I think for my advice on this one, Reddit, is just ignore it. You can reply, but if it just keeps going on and on and on, and it's like sometimes let it go. You're not going to change that person. That person's just there to provoke you and do something. And it's so sad what social media now does. I mean, social media is meant to connect people, and sadly, it destroys people.
Yeah. I had many comments and I would say something very positive that I'm happy about, and someone would say, "Oh, no, that's not true." And I said, and I would, oh, but I was very diplomatic about it. I said, okay, so tell me more about it, why you think like that. And actually, by doing that, I got to understand their point of view. And I didn't, then I say, okay, I agree with your point of view or I don't. But I tend to ask more questions. I don't try to say I'm right and that person's wrong. I just say, just tell me more why you think that way. And then you agree or disagree, and I don't take it personally, really. Everyone has their own opinions about things. So, yeah, definitely. It's
I, I probably would reply back to the most annoying thing when a child asks you over and over, why, why, why,
exactly. Yeah.
why, and why, why, why again? I would
Right.
just that why and why, and just until they get tired of replying.
Exactly. That's perfect. That some people just want to hear themselves talk and write. So if you write why and let them vent and then they disappear. And most of the time they disappear anyway because they got what they wanted, right?
They
So
say
that's perfect. Yeah, ask why. I like that.
why, because that's
Why?
annoying. Why? With a little
Uh,
sad face, like a little happy face. Why?
why?
The little
Smiley
teary,
face. Why?
or the little teary eyes looking
Oh,
hopeful. Why?
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 I like that one.
Big capital letters. Just kidding.
Perfect. All right, next one, Myra. What do we have next?
Right. So the next one we have is I told a girl that I've been running. Now she wants to run with me. She's a triathlete. Oh my goodness.
This
So
is
basically,
perfect for you, Myra, because you're on a run and people want to run with you. Would you say to someone who is a triathlon or expert marathon runner?
I would be honest and say I wouldn't be able to run, mate. Sorry. I mean, the thing is, this story is apparently someone has said that they are runners or that they run. They're keeping fit. They're doing running and training, but they haven't been doing anything. They're just sitting there on their sofa, watching TV, doing nothing.
Maybe.
This girl out of the blue said, "Hey, since you're training and you're running, why don't we run together and let's meet up?" And the person's like, "What?" And how to break the news or how, I mean, should he show up to meeting her? What should he say when he meets her? I mean, about going for this big long run.
Actually, I don't run. Yeah, because you can catch you in a lie, right? Some people just exaggerate about themselves and oh shoot, then someone can prove to you wrong. I don't know. That's tricky.
It's a tricky one, but it's again, we kind of were talking about the first Reddit that people say things to hide behind a screen to impress people or to just piss off people. This person was thinking, hey, I want to impress her. Therefore, I'm going to say I'm doing this and that so she can feel like, oh, we have something in common.
Oh man,
Oh, do
uh,
something together. And you know what? Um we've always want to kind of pair up with people or partners or something that you have something ideal in common, and maybe this woman was too good to be true, very beautiful, and he's like, I gotta impress her and say, oh yeah, I run as well and I train as well, so maybe that's kept her interested in him. Of course, he's been very interested in her, but now he's been caught in a lie, and how to to get out of it or to kind of say, but that's a hard one. I think I think you're just gonna have to be. I would be brutally honest and say sorry. Or I don't know. I mean, God, it just depends on how far you want to go. I mean, are you gonna live to impress her with lie, or are you just gonna
right.
be honest and truthful and say, oh, or, you, or how about this? Why don't you break your leg and then running for
Then
like
you
for
can't run anymore, right?
injured? How about you have plantar fasciitis and that's it? Then you can't do anything. You're
You got a good excuse. Oh my gosh. To be
going
honest,
for
if this happened to me, if a guy exaggerated something and then I tell them because I tend to do that. I would say, "Hey, let's do it together. Let's do this. What we have to share the same idea." And then it happened to me before, and the guy would say, "Well, actually," and to be honest, I'm glad they came out and said they don't like it or they only did it 10 years ago. But
why.
that gave me a reason to say, okay, so let's get you back on track. It was really one of those things. So, but I prefer honesty. So even if you can say that I was trying to impress you, okay, that's fine. But I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know about you, Maya, but I don't know too many guys who don't want to break their ego. You know what I mean?
listen, I was single for many many years, and when you go on Tinder or OK Cupid or Bumble or wherever you go, and you look at these pictures of these men and you think, wow, they look really young and they look really like they love to travel, and then you meet them and they're older, they have wrinkles on their faces, they got white hair, and you're like, what was that picture I was looking at? So that picture was what, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? You were doing your college tour of traveling through Thailand with a tiger. I mean, who wants to see that shit? I mean, I was a bit like, I mean, I would like to see them in how they look now, you know? I mean, now I'm not want to date somebody that was how they looked 20 years ago. I mean, that's the case. I date Grandpa Joe at 75 because I thought when he's 30, he looked damn
It
handsome.
was, wasn't he?
I
And then what happened?
mean, what happened? You know, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people need to be honest, and I think we hide to impress people. It's always nice to have something in common, like running. Like I had an ex-boyfriend who we both found this passion. I mean, I was running, then he also started running, or I don't know if we kind of simultaneously ran because we wanted to be fit. And then somehow we managed to run together or to go out and kind of keep each other tabs on running. Like, oh, I ran 5 kilometers today. Well, I ran 7 today. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. And kept us on tab. And when we went running together and he said, you run too slow for me. Uh, so then no, but yeah, but I thought of a greater idea. Like
Yeah.
this guy could have said this. So I said to him, okay, how about this? We run the opposite direction. And when we cross paths, we high five. And then we'll meet at this spot and just stretch down.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
And it worked. So maybe this guy should have done that. He should have said, how about this? You go from that way to run. I'll meet you this way. And he could be doing a shortcut through the park or something, be like,
That's a
oh,
really brilliant idea, actually. I like that.
so there you go. There's my
Very
advice.
smart. Oh my gosh, Mayra, you had
I did
some skills.
I didn't cheat. We didn't cheat. I mean, definitely did run. We definitely did that. So, but we were running in the same park, but we ran at our own pace.
Ace, yeah.
Respected his pace, and he said I'm not too slow, but whatever. I ran my pace, and we met and stretched and had some good sex. So there you go.
And
And scene.
insane. I like that advice. That's a good advice you can give that guy.
A
Oh
bit
my.
spicy at the end, but there you go. You get.
There you go. That's how you save yourself. He could say, I'm just conserving my time for our fun time later, you know?
Oh yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Alicia and that's a good one there.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta conserve the energy.
True that.
Great. All right, Myra. So the last one we have today, what do you got?
Oh, this is an interesting one. So the last one is, should I break up with my girlfriend?
What happened?
Uh, so they've basically been dating for about 6 months now, and they're getting a bit tired because this is a very long distance relationship type of
Oh,
thing.
hmm.
And they visit once a month, but they always end up having the same argument.
Okay.
So best to assure that he does love her, um, and all this stuff, but he's getting tired of it, working for it, I guess, in the long haul of a long distance relationship. So, what would be the advice? Alicia, you want to
Ooh.
go?
I've been in this situation. I had many long distance relationships and excuse me. Um, and honestly, it depends on your communication. I mean, if I trusted the guy, I would not feel the need that I would not I would not repeat the argument unless he actually did not provide any trust, safety for her that she can trust him. So obviously there's some disconnect between them that she's not satisfied with the way he is communicating with her. Maybe in the past she had been cheated on and who knows what, but you know, for me, when I had that trust issue and the guy didn't reassure that. He didn't provide me that reassurance or he didn't change his behavior. Of course, that argument will come back again. I would say, hey, I don't believe you. That's why she's bringing it up. I don't believe you. So if that's how it is, if he's not willing to prove to her that he is being, you know, loving and caring of her, then they should break up, really. I mean, that's what I would say. But it goes on both sides, They both have to be open in communication and say, "Hey, we keep we keep repeating the same argument. What do you need from me to make you feel more secure?" Right?
Yeah,
That's what I would ask. It's all about just being straightforward. And if obviously he recognizes that. Obviously he recognizes that they keep repeating the same arguments, and he should really, if he was a man, say, man,
yeah,
right? If he was a good man, he would say, "Hey, girl, you keep bringing this up. So what am I doing that is causing you to feel insecure about our relationship.
Yeah.
And if she tells him, or if he doesn't, she doesn't tell, I don't know, it could be a problem with the girl too, but who knows? But if she doesn't say, or if she says something and you do it and it still cause problems, then obviously you have to break up because it's who wants to live in an insecure relationship, you know? I don't know. What
Well,
do you think?
I can relate to this person because I have been in two long-term, long-distance relationships, and well, actually three. Let's count my first love in high school. Three long-distance relationships, and I think the thing that always works with all three is communication.
Yeah.
And if you start to doubt your partner, like, where you been?
Mm.
What my phone call? The thing about long distance is we set a time when we call, we set a time when we meet. Um, the one I when I was living in Poland, he lived in London, so every month or every month and a half, I was going to London and I was going to spend a weekend with him or some days with him, and then he only came once to Poland.
Yeah.
And, that's again, okay, how much do you really want to work on this relationship, And then also, I had one when I was living in California and he was in England, and we kept that going for quite some time. And I think it just fizzled out because just long distance, and we just
No.
spent so much that we didn't have an end, as in we didn't have a progress as to okay, what's going to come out of this. Are we just going to stay boyfriend and girlfriend forever? Are we going to get married? What is the goal? So I think all long distance relationships take work,
Yes.
take time, take effort. And although you may not be physically in the presence with them, you're in there emotionally, mentally, thinking about them constantly. And I consider myself, I think, a good long distance relationship girlfriend, though it kills me that they weren't next to me.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when I ran the half marathon in Warsaw, I really wished he was there. At that time, my ex-boyfriend, and but they were there. I felt their presence there by the phone call, by the text,
Right.
and I think that's weighs a lot. So for this person, I mean, they definitely, both of them have to be on the same page. This is the time we're going to spend. This is when I will call you. I work from this to this. This is the time. I mean, for me, I had 8-hour difference,
Sure.
one time relationships, and you have to balance those things. And, if the progress is to get somewhere, to be together somewhere, sometime, then it'll work out. If it's just a boyfriend girlfriend relationship and you don't know where it's going to go,
Yeah.
you don't these goals of being together, living together, or then it's not going to work. One person has to make it work to meet, or both people have to meet, at a different place to be together. Um, so
You make
yeah,
a
so I
real
think,
point, that I didn't even think about it, but you're right. Where is this relationship actually going? Do you have actually points of where you're going to say we're going to move in together and then we're going to end in marriage? And what do you want from the relationship? For me, nowadays, any online relationship is a situationship, I call it.
yeah, yeah,
Because you wish that you are together, you wish you will get married, you wish you will do all this stuff. But in reality, you're not together. So I used to I was very serious about my relationships in many ways. And now after I've gone through my marriage and all that stuff, any long distance relationship for me is a situationship, at this moment, because unless
right.
you really make a plan to be together, meet and say we're going to live together and so on, it's not a relationship in
Yeah,
my opinion.
exactly. My first long distance ended because he went off to the army. Okay, fair play, and that's what he wanted to concentrate on, and I let him go. And
Right.
the second term was, again, he didn't want to get married, So where else can we go? We can't carry this for 2 years long distance relationship. So that was that. And the last one, funny enough, I actually got a place to do a master's in London. And when I said, hey, I got a place to come study in London and I'll be there in like 3 months and then we can be together. He broke up with me the next day. So I mean,
Yeah. Situationship. It become a reality. It came to true. It became a not a fantasy anymore.
I mean, the guy. I mean, I had enough to have my own space, to live on my own. I just wanted to date. I just wanted to physically be now with him and be so in a relationship like we are. We had a long distance, and I wanted to make it real. But I
And for
guess
some
it's scary.
people, having that distance, they love it because they can keep the distance. And maybe for that girlfriend, she didn't want to keep that distance between her and her boyfriend, and he's okay with it because he enjoys having the fun, but not having to be, so close.
Exactly
But people are afraid of intimacy, and having it online is it's still a barrier between you and the other person.
true. But with this Reddit, the guy says he's getting tired of it. When you get tired of it, that comes to tell you you don't really love
Love
her
her.
or you
Exactly.
care. And that's what kind of my ex-boyfriend said. Oh, I can't do long distance relationship. It's too much. And then I have to call you it's like he found it so challenging. And it's like, wait a minute. Yet
You
you
don't really
want to
love me, right?
you but yet you want to you wait, yet you want to be with me and you don't want me to go out with guys and you don't want me to see, you know, like hold up. Who's so we are so it was very confusing. Maybe he did love me and he just didn't it hit him that situationship.
Realization that, wow, I actually have to be a man and I have to do that. It's easy. I mean, what can you do? You don't have to take her out on a date. You can just talk to each other and have fun on the camera sometimes, and
The
it's
phone
easier. Yeah.
all the time. I mean, I did love him to where my life when I was living in Poland, I was consumed by it, and I accepted that I live in a long distance relationship. I accepted it, and I loved every moment of it. I don't regret it, but
Sure.
it does take when two people do have long distance relationships. It's not one end. It's two people doing the same thing, putting the same energy as well. So if I was going on flights every month, I expected him to come every month as well to come see me or, whatever. But it was maybe too much time for him or because he wanted to see his friends or because it took his social life, whatever it was his excuses. Um, but I went. I did it. I made the effort.
You made the
So
effort. Right.
I made the effort. But the thing about long distance relationships, it's hard. And I think I would tell this young man because he's young as well. They're just, there's no goal. If there's no goal, there's no end of being together. Then it's not worth being in a long distance relationship. But at the same time, yeah, if you're saying you're bored, or if you're tired of it, then
You're not
that's it.
loving. You don't love her. Yeah, pretty
You're
much.
already foot out the door. You're already 1 foot out the
You already
door. So
walked out.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. You're right. You're right, Myro. All right. Well, that was interesting. Hey, that was really interesting picks there, Myra. And I like that we get to share our instant reaction and our experiences and our opinions on other people's
Wait,
lives.
I'm talking a lot about my ex today, so apologies to one ex. But yeah, I still miss him and adore him. So yeah, no harm. So
No
yeah,
harm in our exes. They are just
harm in our
our
exes.
past history.
I loved it.
We love all our exes, maybe. Not everybody.
No story, no
Not
story.
anymore, but I did, but not anymore.
And you don't love it either. So there you go. No,
We're finished.
buddy.
I love the memory. The memory, we're good.
Yeah, it's nice to talk about exes and the memories. And like I said, I don't regret anything
Sure.
of any and the decisions that were made. So they're beautiful memories to look back. But I don't hate any of them. So
No,
just all my exes know I don't hate anybody. I don't hate any.
you don't hate them.
I love them.
Aw, love everybody. And I love everyone who's watching our podcast. So, cheese.
Uh,
Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time on our Minor Words podcast after dark. Thank you,
Ooh.
Mayra. See ya.